Good morning, everybody. A lot of you have asked me for an ab and kind of like a guts and butts workout. So I'm gonna just post that real quick. All you really need is a mat. I have a towel here. You can use a loop, a fitness loop if you have one. You don't have to use it. So we're gonna get started. Of course, warm up a little bit before you get going. So we're just gonna start on our back, and it's important to think about the core as the whole, like front and back. It's the band that wraps around. So we're just gonna pull the knees into the chest gently and then rock side to side. Make sure you're a little bit warm before you start this. Maybe go for a walk or something, do some little light stretching. But this is just gonna be a quick video of just abs and glutes. So we're just gonna hold those knees in, maybe lift your head up, and just get that spine nice and long and pressed into the mat. We'll start off basic and then we'll build from there. So you're gonna have your feet apart, your hands behind your head. You always wanna lift from a lifted position. Your hands are just there to support the head. And we're just gonna start going up and down here. Notice that I'm lifting from a lifted position. So I'm just gonna go up and down here. And I'm going to try to stay on the tips of my shoulder blades. So this is just a basic thing. You can make it harder by pressing up a little higher and then going towards those heels. You can always take one side at a time. You want to just keep things moving, take breaks when you need to, but this is made for beginners as well as advanced. So you can kind of take it back and forth a little bit, make it harder, then make it easier again. You can do these crunches with your legs up. In tabletop, that's a little bit harder. You can even take those legs all the way up. And then we're just gonna hold it up there and then twist. So again, this is a basic exercise. You can do it with your legs down in tabletop or up if you like. Notice my hips are down, and I'm leading with the chest and the shoulder. So I'm not pulling on my head. I'm really just leading with the shoulder and really twisting through the obliques, the waist. If you want to make this harder, you're going to extend and do a little bicycle. But again, you can do this with the legs down as well. So we're just going to keep going. Don't worry about getting your elbow to your knee. You want to really just twist from your shoulders. Twisting from the shoulders. If you want to make it a little harder, you're going to hold for 2 and then switch. So you can do this with the legs up a little higher. That's going to be easier on your back. What you want to make sure is that you keep your navel pressed gently into your spine. So you want to keep that spine down to the mat. Whenever you need a break, just hug those knees into your chest. So this is a great way to work the core. You can also do this with the legs long. You can tap the outside of your knee to make it harder. Notice my head, neck, and shoulders are up the whole time. So you can mix up your exercises just to keep them fresh. I like to do some on my back and some on my side and some in a plank. So I'm going to show you all different ones. This is great to do at the end of a workout or a day you're just doing a light walk and you want to add some abs. Let's go back to that basic. I know I'm doing a lot in a row. You can always take breaks. And then hug your knees into your chest and rest your head down. So just you want to do this whenever you need a little break. So that's a great basic for the upper abs. It really works the whole abdominal area and the obliques. Another one on your back, we're going to do reverse curls. So I like to cross my ankles. Whenever you're lifting your hips, you want to not rock and roll. You're really just lifting and lowering the hips. If you're just starting out, you're going to start with a little pelvic tilt. So try to do this from the abdominals rather than squeezing the glutes. You can keep the glutes tight, but you want to focus on using your abdominals to get the hips up because you're going to use those muscles when you get to here. So what you want to avoid doing is this kind of swinging. That's why I like to have my hips down, and you can add a little crunch to this. So you're thinking about lifting those hips up instead of rocking in and out. So you can also vary this by holding the hips up and then just making them a little quicker. It's a little harder because you're holding your head, neck, and shoulders up, so you're working those upper abdominals, and then you're lifting and lowering the hips, targeting lower abdominals a little bit more. Another way to vary this, I'm going to separate my ankles and I'm going to slow it down. This is a great way to start. This gives you a little bit more momentum. You don't want to go crazy here, but this helps you get that hip up with a little bit of a push. So if you're having trouble getting those hips up without rocking, this is a good way to start. Notice how I'm in tabletop and then I'm lifting up, still using the lower abdominals. Now, if you wanted to, you can add a little twist to that leg that's going up. This is another good way to just keep things moving and adding a variety here so you don't get bored. So you're twisting shoulder to knee, shoulder to knee. So you might want to do some of these on your back and then you'll flip around. I'm going to show you some things you can do in plank. You can also do this with the legs up and you're going straight up. This is a little harder because you're not getting that momentum. It's really driven from the lower abdominals. You can also do it with your knees bent. You don't have to do it with the twist. You can come up straight. Notice I'm not pulling on the neck. Hug those knees in and relax. Another one I like to do on my back before we flip over, you're gonna take your legs straight out, lift your arms up, and you're gonna come up and alternate and tap. Now, this is harder. If you want to just start out, just come up with a little bit of a crunch here with your legs out, that's fine too. But if you're a little bit more advanced and you wanna vary this, you're gonna reach to the outside. Notice I'm really not coming down in between. I'm keeping my head, neck, and shoulders up, and I'm not swinging my arms. I'm not swinging my arms here. So you're gonna keep this going. Try to aim for about 3 sets of 8 maybe, of each. We'll come back and do some more on your back, but I wanted to show a few different ones here that you can vary. You could just turn on some tunes and do these and hug those knees into your chest. I'm going to show you some on the stomach. So in addition to working just on your back, you want to make sure for lower back health that you work the low back. That's part of your core. So when we refer to the core, it's that whole band around the whole center of your body. It supports your body in daily movement, so it's important to keep it strong. A little goes a long way. I would say whenever you're doing your abs, do a little low back. Make sure you hit that. It doesn't require a lot of time. Like I said, a little bit goes a long way. So we're gonna be on our stomach, and I'm just gonna start with the basic and I'll make it harder. Your hands are here, you're gonna reach to the crown of the head and just come up and down a few times. Now you don't have to go all the way to straight elbows. You wanna make sure you keep your abdominals in nice and tight here. So, you know, try to keep those abs tight and your hands kind of light. Let your abdominals do the work here and your back. Now, if you wanna make it a little harder, you're gonna add one leg lifting at a time. You don't really need a lot here. You're gonna keep the hips down and just lift through that leg. Now, if you wanna make it a little bit harder, you're gonna stay here with your goalpost arms and lift and lower, lifting from a lifted position. See how I'm alternating the legs still? And I'm reaching through the crown of my head. What I'm not gonna do is this, because that's gonna add tension. So you wanna keep that neck long and just your eyes on the mat. You don't wanna look down or up, keep it neutral. If you wanna make this harder, extend the arms. So you're just gonna extend those arms a little bit. And if you wanna make it easier, alternate arm and leg, but tap down in between. So still lifting the chest. So these are really good options for a beginner to start here and then go to something harder. And if you want to make it harder, you're going to go all the way up and all the way down. You have to keep your abs really tight here. If you want to make it harder, instead of tapping down, you're going to lift from that lifted position right here. So these are a little harder. And you can also do this with goalpost arms. You can hold it up and do a little swimming of the legs. You can take those hands back. I like to mix it up a little bit. Some with the arms out, some with goalpost. Abs are still tight. And then bring it down. And then when you're done with those, sit into child's pose. It resets the back, it lengthens the back. And then just relax here. And then come forward, keep your knees down, and just open the chest. So you're pulling those abs in still. And then maybe come back and stretch. So you can also take the arms to the side and then walk it over to the other side. And then walk it back to center. And then we're coming back. Okay, so in addition to doing the abs on your back, you're gonna do some on your side. This next one is a side plank, and we'll do some regular planks. You know what, let me do the regular plank first because it's a little easier to show. So you can do a plank. I'll show you the easiest version is elbows and knees. Hips are down, and you're just gonna hold it here, maybe 15, 30 seconds. This is the easiest version. So if you're doing something more difficult, instead of taking a break, you can always come here. My knees are apart, my hips are down. Watch that you don't lift the hips. To make it a little harder, go to your toes. You can take your feet a little wider, and that'll make it a little easier to stay. If you like to be up on your hands, you can take it right here. Hands are under your shoulders, just like the elbows were. And you're gonna spread those fingertips so that you're not pressing too much into the palm. And watch that your hips don't go up. But you can always take a little break here if you wanna go to downward facing dog. And then back to plank. You can kind of keep that moving. It's a good way to start. And then we're just gonna hold it here. And again, if you want to drop to knees, you can even do that right here too. Keeping the abs in nice and tight. So we're definitely, we've been holding it a little more than 30 seconds. So if you need a break, take one. And then we'll bring it down and sit back and stretch. Just take a deep breath, reset. You can do that as many times as you want. It's good to mix up how you're working your abs. You don't want to do them all in a crunch position. You don't want to do all planks. You want to hit those abs from different angles. It makes it for a more balanced back and abdominal area. So we're going to come back to our plank. And you can do this on your knees or your hands. This is probably one of my favorites. We're going to take knee to right above that elbow. So your hips are going to come up a little bit, but you don't want them to come up too much. And we're just going to do this, again, about 3 sets of 8. Try not to drop your head when you're in a plank. So you don't want to be here. Again, you want that nice long line. You get a little winded when you do these too. Don't worry about if your knee touches your elbow or your tricep. You're just going to aim for it. So even if you come here, that's fine. Thank you. So you're gonna just keep going. If you need a break, you're gonna sit back and stretch. You're gonna feel your arms too. And then just hold your plank. Bring your knees down and sit back. And hold it there. Just take a little breather. And again, you might wanna do a little modified upward facing dog. Keep your shoulders back and down. So those are great to do. That's just one variation of a advanced plank. Okay, So let's go into a side plank. And these are hard too. So you can do these on your knees. You can just bend your knees and lift your hips and hold it here. You're gonna feel it right here, right in the oblique. So I would say start here. Make sure you're not dropping your head. Make sure you're not sinking into this shoulder. So you're just gonna hold strong. If you wanna make it harder, you're gonna come up, stack the hips. If you wanna make it a little easier, take that top leg forward. And you're just gonna hold it there. Again, maybe 20, 30 seconds. Breathing. Make sure you're not sinking into this shoulder. You're really gonna feel it right here, but keep those lower abs in nice and tight. If you want, you can lift that leg, makes it a little harder. And then you're gonna bring it down. Another one I love to do, this is a Pilates move. I think it's called Mermaid. You're gonna be right here to start. And you're gonna lift this leg up and down. This also works the outer thigh and the glutes, so it's a good all-around exercise. Now, if you wanna make this harder, notice my knee and my ankle are even. If you wanna make it harder, you're gonna be right here. This is a lot harder. It's harder to hold this position. And if you wanna make it harder, you can hold a weighted ball or a dumbbell. But believe me, these are hard. You're using your core to stabilize and that leg is lifting. If you wanna tap down in between, you can. And again, you can build up to it. So you're gonna stay right here. The point is not to be dipping down. You wanna use your body to stay up. So that's why I said to do these with your fingertips down. This is a good building block. It's a good way to start. Now, if you really are having trouble with it, right here, nice and light. This also, again, works the legs, but you're gonna feel it right here in the oblique. Great way to hit the muscles from different angles. Remember, we work the obliques on our back. This is another great way to work it, and we're gonna bring it down. And then I like to take a little stretch here. You can just come to the elbows and just lengthen there. You can even take it all the way down and walk it in. So we have to do the other side. Let's start out with the mermaid and then we'll build from there. So this side is a little tougher for me because my hips are tighter on this side. So I'm gonna start here and I'm gonna lift and lower that leg. Already I feel like it's harder because this is my weaker side. So pay attention to those sides that are a little weaker. We all have them. We all have those weak sides due to either injury or maybe you favor one side over the other. You carry your groceries or your kids on one arm. So it's important to balance that out. So again, if I'm gonna take it here, you really need to pull your abs in here, nice and tight. Breathing. Again, if you need a little break, you're gonna come back here and maybe do a few here and then a few here. Again, you're also gonna feel your whole leg working here. Your glutes, outer and inner thigh, you're lifting from that lifted position, knee and ankle are parallel. And let's just do a few more here, pulling that ab in nice and tight. Remember, if you need to, you can be down here, just don't collapse, stay up. And bring it down and take that little stretch. So you kind of feel that stretch as your chest comes down. Again, you can take it all the way down. And then walk it in. All right, so let's go to that side plank on this side. Remember, your starter position's gonna be here on your knees. Keep that arm up. If you wanna make it harder, take that top leg forward. If you want to make it even harder, you're going to stack those hips. And if you really want to here, I didn't show it on the other side, but you can add a little bit of a twist underneath. You can even do that on your knees as well. Just another variation. And if you want your hand on your hip, you can. You can even go down and up here. These are all variations to make it a little more interesting and a little harder. Hold on to it, make sure you're breathing. Instead of giving up, just go to something easier. I always recommend that first. Remember, stay up off this elbow. Elbow stacked underneath the shoulder, under the ear. You don't want to collapse, and bring it down. Good job. Let's go back on our backs. Just hug those knees in and reset. You can even take those arms out and just go side to side. Remember, go by your comfort zone with your back here. Don't go too far down. You don't want to injure anything. And just hug those knees in. All right, so I've given you some options for your abs. I recommend doing some on your back, some planks, and then maybe coming back to your back and doing some more there. Tons more I can show you down the road, but I did want to show you some exercises for the legs. So these are also going to work your abs as well. So if you want, you can take a fitness loop. You don't have to. And you're going to put it above the knees. This is more advanced, so if you're just starting out, do it without the band. And you can get these in anywhere, Five Below, anywhere. So you're going to do these with bent knees to start. You're going to just pulse up, keep those glutes tight. You're also feeling it right here. If you need a break for the upper body, you don't like being up on your elbow, take it all the way down. Don't be here. I don't really like this position. Puts pressure on the neck and the hand. So either be up or down. You're gonna have this hand here for support. I'm gonna come back up. So if you wanna make it harder, take that leg straight out in line with the upper body. So you're gonna stay right here. This hand is just here for a little support. If you feel that you're sinking, come on up, really engage that core. Remember, we're working the legs, but it's whole body. You from head to toe, you have to be in good alignment and good form to get the most out of it, because you're gonna feel it here too. So if you need to, you're gonna come right here. And then we're just gonna vary it a little bit. We're gonna take 3 pulses up and down. We'll just do this a few times. Little pulse and down. Pulse, 2, 3, and down. So this is just a good workout, not only for the legs, but for the abs. And if you do this right after abs, you're gonna feel it a little bit more. Let's do 2 more. And last one. And then just bring it in and rub it out. Just rub it out. And we'll go to the other side. So very basic, easy. You can build, make it harder with the band, but you can also just modify it without the band. So we're just gonna start with our pulses. Notice I'm lifting from a lifted position. You can also slow this down a little bit, but you wanna keep tension on the band and tension on the leg. So you don't wanna come all the way down in between like this. It kind of breaks the flow. I'm really needing my water. You guys are doing great, hang in there. Again, remember you need to, no problem. Take it down, but don't roll back. You wanna stay on that side. You wanna make it harder? Just pushing up against the band. If you're not using a band, use your resistance. And you're feeling it right here too. Keep those abdominals in and keep that elbow underneath your shoulder, underneath your ear. You don't ever want to be here or here. I know I see that a lot. I just don't like it, and I think it's too much pressure on your head or neck. So let's pulse it up for 3, 2, 1, halfway down. And engage these muscles. The more you focus, the more you put your mind on it, the better it's going to be. Let's do a few more here. Stay lifted. A couple more. You can point or flex your foot, it really doesn't matter. Last one, and bring it down. Good job. Rub it out, relax, and you can take that band off. So these are a few of my favorite exercises on the mat. Of course, there's things you can do standing, but if you're somebody had asked for just like something you can do on the mat, I figured this was a good go-to. Another really good one for the hamstrings and glutes would be a bridge. So you're gonna take it all the way down. Now again, you can have the band up above your knees as well. So feet are apart and your feet are right under your knees and your heels are in line with the glutes. So you don't want to be too wide or too narrow here. Just start out right here. Your palms are down. We're going to come up and down. Up and down. And you're just going to squeeze the glutes. Now you can make this a little harder by varying one leg at a time, and I'll show you that. But the important thing is to press into the whole foot, not just your heels. So these feel really good also on the abs. You're also working the abs in the back. Now you can hold it up and pulse for 3, squeezing the glutes and coming down, holding it up and going down. Nice and smooth movements. You can hold it up and pulse or just hold and then swing side to side. Notice my feet are still down, my abs are still tight, and I'm just kind of swinging here like you have a bowl of water and you're trying to swish it. Still squeezing the glutes and hamstrings. You're going to come back to center and hold it and lower down. Now if you want to make it harder, you're going to take one foot, cross it over. This is going to be one side at a time, so you're going to have to do it on the other side too. So you're going to come up and down, adding resistance with this leg. So you would not use a band for this one. Now if you want to make it harder, take the leg up. This is going to be a little harder. And the lower this leg goes, the harder it's going to be. So if you have it up here, it's going to be a little easier than down here. And this one you really feel on those legs. So if this gets to be too hard, rather than stop, go here. And if that's too hard, go here. Let's switch legs. You're also going to feel a nice little stretch in this hamstring. Body's just nice and long. Again, if you need to, take it here. And you're really targeting this side. Make sure you push into that whole foot on the floor, not just the heel. You don't even have to go up too high. You would only go as high up as the tips of the shoulder blades. You would never be on your neck here. So you don't have to go up too high. And again, you make it harder by taking that leg out. But if it's too much on your back, listen to your body. It's smart. Don't push things when you're feeling too winded or you can't control the movement or you feel pain. So you want to make sure that you keep listening to that body. And then let's go back to where we started with feet apart. Now if you want to make it harder, glue those knees and feet together. This is also a nice variation, and you're squeezing those inner thighs together. And you're holding it up, and then you can hold here and pulse, and then bring it down. Important here when you're done, hug those knees in. I like to hug behind the knees, lift your head up, and then bring it down. Take a nice big deep breath and do it again. You should feel a nice stretch in those glutes. And let's roll it up. So those are just a few exercises, especially if you're a beginner. The glute and hamstring exercise I just showed is a good way to build up. I'll show you more next time, but that is a good, I don't know how long I was on. It's almost a 30-minute workout for abs, back, and legs. So of course you can do things standing, but if you have an exercise routine, it's good to do these basics sometimes to mix it up. And if you're doing your own workouts, kind of pull from different areas. But this is a good one if you're just on a mat, doesn't require any equipment unless you want to use the band. And I hope that helped. If you have any questions, let me know. Bye guys.